Hello.
Hello, another bench.
Another bench.
It's very
Yes,
exciting,
yes.
isn't it?
Well,
Finding out how many benches.
This is maybe more exciting than you realise, because right behind us here is a mausoleum for someone who fell out with the church many, many years ago.
Right.
And he said, he fell out with the minister and said, I'm never going to walk in church land ever again. And his family were a bit worried, because when he died, he had a plot of what we're going to do. So what they did, and see that hole there, that's literally where they knocked a hole in the wall.
Oh my word.
And put his coffin in that way, so he never actually had to go into church land. There you go.
Well, I think that's very, very interesting. But I think everybody's been on tenterhooks to hear about you've been doing a series about parables.
Yeah, that's right.
While you've been down the road with shared
sharing
congregations.
the services.
And so I think you've now discovered the favourite parable.
With a drum roll.
Can you guess?
Yeah, can you guess? Well, can you guess? In truth, actually, there were two. Yeah. So, and you can guess what they were. They were, let's think, prodigal son, and could it be the Samaritan? Yep, that's right. And you wonder, why are these parables favourites? They're well known.
Yes.
And we've rehearsed them so often. We feel like the Good Samaritan's all about being nice to folk. Well, it's not really, is it? It's this Samaritan was the enemy of the person lying on the ground, and so you have to realise that one day your enemy might be your saviour. So it's all about how you live together in community with those you don't like. It's a much bigger thing than just being nice to folk.
That's really interesting, because of course we all call it the parable of the Good Samaritan, and today the oft-used phrase is, that person was a good Samaritan, because they helped somebody.
Yeah.
But it's not, as you say, it's not actually about being nice to other people. It's sort of giving yourself to somebody who's your enemy. And sort of not really thinking about the consequences of helping your enemy.
It's trusting your life with someone that you don't like, and and if we could live like that, that's the real stuff about these parables. We all think we're easily understood and we can enjoy them just as they are, as we remembered them in Sunday school and things like that. Whereas they're grown-up stories, and they really are about living together, sacrificial living, giving ourselves to folk, and they're much, much bigger than we ever imagined them to be. You had a story of someone who we don't want to be. We like the parables as long as they.
Well, it's not the phrase. The parables are nice stories with a message, as long as the message isn't directed at us.
That's right.
And I think that's true, because you look at your children's books of parables. They've all got Good Samaritan, maybe the parable of the sower.
That's really visual, so that's fine. We can do that.
And then the lost son, the lost sheep.
All the lost parables.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
And none of them are about nice, cosy
what
things.
We imagine them
fluffy.
to be. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
It's fascinating, isn't it? So why is it that people like it? And I'm afraid it's people like the cosy story.
Yeah,
they love
we've
the
domesticated it. So, but we do that with all the stories. There is always another way of understanding and hearing and interpreting these stories, and ours, I suppose, is the job to find that alternative voice in the stories.
Yes.
And so, and to do that, we have to live in the real world. You can't. These parables are not for, nighttime stories.
No.
They're
it's definitely not bedtime reading unless you want to have a nightmare.
But is any story? Look at David and Goliath.
That's right.
It's bloodthirsty, and Noah. Everyone's drowned. We domesticate them, we soften them, obviously, for children, but we don't actually grow out of that hearing.
Yes.
We're still in that kind of...
It's always important, isn't it, for us to... our job, if you like, is to try and help people to understand what is behind... What was Jesus actually saying? And I think we've got to be fair to Jesus. I think he was presenting them as good stories. Wrapped up with this message that was...
because that's how we remember things. We remember things as stories. It's much easier to remember a story than it is a line of doctrine, etc. So that's the beauty of them. But the depth of them is that there's something else below them, and then there's something below that, and there's something below that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I was just thinking how interesting it was. You know, it's a bit. You can imagine standing in front of the Pharisees and the scribes and the teachers. You know, which was your favourite parable of the stories that Jesus spoke against you?
Yeah. And so many of them start that way. The Pharisees and the scribes and the lawyers, etc., were debating amongst themselves. So Jesus told them a story.
Yeah.
They must have felt really bad if they noticed.
Yes, and of course the story was exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah.
But they were sort of trying to wrap it up in legalism and all that.
And that's another part of doing the parables, is you have to read them in context of what happens just before.
Yes,
because
absolutely so.
The
All
response
parts
to
of the
something.
Bible, yes.
Yes. Context is everything, and we forget that bit.
Yeah. And talking of favourites, I must just throw in our songs of praise.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Absolutely. 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, yes,
yep.
at All Saints. And the funny thing is, when I've done it in other churches, I've asked people for their favourite readings and hymns. And I've had about 2 suggestions,
right.
And I've had to sort of threaten withholding of biscuits and coffee. You know. And this here, they've come up with about 25,
really?
So I've got to leave some out, and they'll be most upset.
Bring your sandwiches, yeah. Usually when I do it, it's payback time. All the ones I don't choose, you know. Here's the ones we want to sing, you know.
I know. Perhaps we ought to talk one time, we're sitting on the bench, talk about our least favourite.
Oh, yeah, there's a few of them. Yeah.
How to upset people in 6 minutes.
Well, we'll leave you to ponder what ones these hymns might be, but we'll see you on Sunday evening at All Saints. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yep.
And thanks for joining us today. Great to see you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.